Yo, what's up? Guys, we're back. Another reaction. I'm gonna stop talking like that. Alright, we're back with another reaction. We're gonna be watching Star Wars Battlefront 3 is the Future of Star Wars Games by TheOzzyJedi. If you don't know who he is, he posts a lot of really good content about Battlefront. Go check him out. The link will be in the description below. Let's go. Let's watch the video.
How's it going, guys, and welcome back to the channel for another Star Wars game video. And in this video we're going to be talking about the elusive Battlefront 3 once again. Now, I did want to refrain from doing more videos on Battlefront 3 as I don't want to be a Battlefront 3 speculation channel. I mean, the game isn't even confirmed, and it doesn't even exist, so yeah, I don't want to really be doing that. But I was sitting down and working on some future videos, and mid-editing, I kind of came to a realization.
What's that?
And that realization is that I truly believe that Battlefront 3 is the future of Star Wars games, and without it, I think things just aren't going to reach that full potential. And I'll get into why that is throughout this video and what I believe needs to be happening going forward. Now, this of course isn't like a negative video or anything like that. I think that Squadrons is going to be great for Star Wars games, and Jedi Fallen Order 2, when that eventually comes out, is going to be great too. And even the unannounced games that are a part of this whole doubling down thing, like, I really think that they can pop off for Star Wars games, but I just think that Battlefront 3 is needed in some way, shape or form if Star Wars games are really going to thrive and go to that next level.
I agree with that.
So I'll of course get into that as we go, but guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel with notifications on, as there are some really exciting videos on the way, and make sure you let me know down in those comments how important you think Battlefront 3 is going to be for the future.
And do that for me too. Hit that little bell icon so you don't miss out on the video. Bet. Thank you. You did it. You got like 5 seconds. Go ahead. Alright, bet. Good looks. Appreciate you.
Of Star Wars games. Whether it arrives or whether it doesn't, either way, let me know. But now let's just dive into this video. So the general viewer of a video like this probably won't be able to fully grasp what I'm going to say here. But Star Wars games, they kind of play off of each other at times, whether they are similar or they're not. If the state of Star Wars games is great, then across the board the perception of Star Wars games is great, obviously. And for more casual gamers, it's like, yeah, this game's great, this one's bad, move on, whatever, that's just the end of it. But for the people who, live and breathe Star Wars games, there needs to be that sense of Star Wars games being linked together to give that sense of community. And in turn, a happier, more vibrant community is only a good thing. It means players stick around and don't drop off.
Hey guys, heads up. Everything you've been told about shampoo and conditioner.
Now, one of the biggest reasons that Star Wars games are in such a good place right now is this very reason. This sense of community, sticking together through the good times and the bad. And you can put all of that down to the journey of Battlefront 2, a multiplayer, live service Star Wars game, and that's important. Now yes, Squadrons will be a multiplayer Star Wars game, but from what we know, it's not going to be live service. Squadrons is aimed to be a complete game on its launch, and that is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. That's great.
That's how it used to be.
But if this same approach is echoed throughout the next few years for Star Wars games, I think that could spell a bit of a problem for Star Wars games as a whole. Now, Jedi Fallen Order was a fantastic game. It made a lot of money, it was critically praised, it was great. But the game went as quick as it came. It just did.
Yeah.
Fallen Order, for me, is probably my favorite Star Wars game, ever made. And it pains me that it was this big deal for a month or two, but then it just kind of fizzled out.
It's up there.
And this is what I mean when I say this kind of structure for future games could spell problems for Star Wars games. Now, with Fallen Order, we were lucky because Battlefront 2 was still going on with its live service, so once things started to fizzle out for Fallen Order, people just picked up where they left off with Battlefront 2, so it never really felt like things died off. And I have spoken about this on the channel before, but that's why I believe it is crucial for the state of Star Wars games to have a game like a Battlefront 2 there. Going through with its live service the whole time to kind of support the community in between these one and done game releases, like Fallen Order and potentially like Squadrons. Now, I think things are really going to get tested when Star Wars Squadrons comes out. If it's the same situation as Fallen Order where the game is great and everyone loves it, but it goes as quick as it came, then where does that leave players? It kind of leaves them
Back
in
to Battlefront
no man's
2?
land. There's no live service game to go back to. Players will inevitably drop off. Battlefront 2's servers are up, sure, but the game is in a pretty average state in terms of bugs and balancing, and the live server stopped months ago, so people are probably already getting bored. Whereas if Battlefront 2 was still going, or let's just say Battlefront 3 was going, then this wouldn't even be a problem. I think Star Wars games are going to thrive so much more if they can bounce off of each other. Drawing in new players, then those new players see the other Star Wars game.
You know what? Make your money. I respect it, Ozzy. Go ahead.
And then, you're doing your own networking at that point. And you're bringing in more players across the board. And I think this has been proven with Battlefront 2 and Fallen Order. Fallen Order probably wouldn't have done as well in terms of players if it wasn't for Battlefront 2 having that gelled together community right there, ready and keen for the game. And I don't think that Battlefront 2 would have gone through such an insanely popular period in December of 2019 if it wasn't for Fallen Order. See what I mean when I say this idea of Star Wars games bouncing off of each other? I just think this is the ideal approach for Star Wars games going forward. Having that popular live service multiplayer.
I agree with that they do bounce off of each other and they depend on one another. But I believe that Jedi Fallen Order would have still done as well as it did, regardless of had people come back to Battlefront 2. Because the game was really hyped up even before Battlefront 2 started getting back into the flow of things. So I don't know if I completely agree with that. I can see where he's coming from, but I don't think they were completely codependent.
A Star Wars game as a constant, and then sporadically releasing games like Squadrons, like Fallen Order, or exploring with other single player games. But just always keeping a Battlefront 3, or who knows, even a Battlefront 2 right there as the base of Star Wars games and the constant.
I will say, what he's talking about right now, I completely agree with. I think having a constant live multiplayer game would definitely help the community and the sale of games in the future. So I completely agree with that moving forward.
And then just expand alongside it and get creative. Take a risk. Do what you can. I just think that if we get these sporadic one and done Star Wars games with, maybe even a year in between them, with no constant live service multiplayer Star Wars game there to hold the interest in the downtime, then that's not really going to do Star Wars games many favors. I think a lot of players will honestly drop off, and especially now that Star Wars gamers have become so accustomed to having that constantly supported Star Wars game right there with
Grievous
Battlefront
move is
2,
so OP.
But now that's obviously gone, and everyone is kind of like, well, what now? Now, Squadrons will help with that, absolutely. But what about after that? Don't get me wrong, the future of Star Wars games is looking really damn good, but it could just be so much more. I look back at it now and I think, what if Battlefront 2 didn't get ongoing support? What if throughout most of 2018 and 2019 there was no Battlefront 2? Fallen Order would have maybe done well, but so many players would just be out of the loop or just not care. Fallen Order probably still would have done well to its credit, like I said, because it was a fantastic game and the word of mouth was great. But with Fallen Order 2, maybe the idea of not having that thriving community to release alongside the game, that might end up being a reality. Who knows how things are honestly going to go? This is obviously all hypothetical at this point. For all we
Are you interested in the specific gun laws for your state?
Come on,
if not,
Ozzy.
no worries, simply skip this video. However, if you
I
do
will
want
skip
to know
it.
this,
they're working on stuff like a Battlefront 3 behind the scenes and we just don't know. Don't take this video the wrong way or anything. That's the main thing that I don't want people to do. The future of Star Wars games is exciting. I just think it'd be a hell of a lot more if a Battlefront 3 was released. Or maybe even live service was reinstated to Battlefront 2, because the player base for Star Wars games would hold a lot stronger. Now, if the plan for Star Wars games is to go down that sporadic release schedule for smaller Star Wars games, then, that might still work out really well, absolutely. You know, throw some open world games in there, some spin-offs, an Old Republic game, whatever it may be.
I would
Things
love
can
an Old Republic
absolutely
game.
still go really well, and you know for a fact that I would be there day one of each game's release, as I'm sure most diehard fans would. But the more casual players would probably drop off in between and move on to other things. And casual players make up arguably the majority of the player base, so this huge Star Wars gaming community would see players drop off in these in-between lull periods in between games. You know, even if the games are amazing, which, you know, I think is almost to be expected at this point with how far Star Wars games have come in the past couple years, like things have really turned around. But yeah, like I said, I just think having that popular multiplayer Star Wars game right there as a constant is the key to keeping Star Wars games absolutely booming. Like a Battlefront 3 is the sweet spot, and then build around that with your smaller Star Wars game projects like your Squadrons, like your Fallen Orders, and other games.
Yeah.
I just
I
think
agree with
that
that.
is the perfect business module for Star Wars games, and that's why I think Battlefront 3 is the future of Star Wars games. But I mean, that's just what I believe personally. You know, I am involved and
Will
I
they
see
do it?
all the things within the Star Wars gaming
You don't know.
community
We'll
every
see.
single day and have done for the past 3 to 4 years. And I think I've kind of developed somewhat of a strong understanding of just how this Star Wars gaming fan base works. And you know, that's why I made this video. You know, I want Star Wars games to maximize their potential because no IP in gaming has more potential than Star Wars, at least in my opinion. The Star Wars universe is an endless sandbox of potential, and I think we have a ton to look forward to, and I can't wait to be a part of that journey. The past couple years have been great for Star Wars games, but I would just love to see some of the stuff I spoke about here be put into action, so we can make the next few even better. But guys, go ahead and let me know down in those comments what you think of all of this. Like I said, this is not a negative video, like at all. This is just healthy speculation and discussion. But yeah, let me know down in those comments your thoughts, and if you did go on to enjoy this video.
Alright man, that is it for this video. Like I said at the beginning, go check him out. He posts some great content. I'll leave his link down below. Let me know any other videos you guys would like me to react to. And as always, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.